Good morning, everybody. And in this video, I want to give you a demo of the project. Essentially, process and metadata capture for jobs running using DynamoDB single table design templates. Here is the entire source code and a demo. So I hope you guys are going to really love it. So again, a little bit backtracking just the concept here. We made an internal framework which is made up on AWS Batch, which runs literally more than 3,300 jobs a month, as you can see. So whenever a job runs, we want to capture the information or essentially the metadata. For example, when did the job start? What time did it end? What was the status of the job? Was it a success? Was it a fail, right? And each process can have several tasks, right? So basically, you might want to log important functions and methods in your Python code, right? So basically, we want to develop a generalized template. In the first part, we did the data modeling, so we identified the entities. So whenever any sort of a job kicks off, we call it a process. Process will have an ID, a start date, end date, status, error type, and a job type. Task will have a name, a status, and of course, start date, end date, etc., etc. We essentially model everything in DynamoDB, right? So here you can see, I said, this is my process here, right? We can see the start date, we can see the end date. What is the status code of the process? Was it a success? Was it a fail, right? Then each process can have several tasks. These are your log of your functions, right? So you can see which function is taking more time. Everything is logged on DynamoDB, right? And basically, if I want to get into the task level, I can query my GSI and I say, hey, for this process, give me all the tasks that you have, right? I can also get the task on a day level. So I want to see how many jobs ran in a particular day, on a particular month. So we have GSI for all of those. So now what I did is essentially, I'm going to show you an amazing demo here. I essentially spinned up my infrastructure using serverless framework, right? And here I defined my table name, and here I defined my 3 global secondary index. One is for the process, which is this one right here, right? So this is my GSI one. The second GSI is, as you can see, is for my day. So if I want to basically query and say how many process ran in a particular day or in a particular month, these are my global secondary index or views. Then here I have adopted some nice design patterns here, right? So I have started defining all my classes here. So this is a process class. Again, this is a view for a process. So for a given process, I can fetch all the tasks. This is a view for a day level. So in a day, if I want to fetch all the processes, I can do that. This is a view for a month. So in a month, I can fetch all the process. So let me show you a demo, right? It is pretty interesting. So as I was talking, right, the user can simply decorate the function that they want to log on DynamoDB. And here they can write the standard code, whatever they are writing, right? So now if you run this Python file, and again, let me show you. So I'm going to run this Python file. Again, this is a normal code that, you guys are trying to run. So if you observe carefully, okay, we have some print message. But now what you would see on DynamoDB is pretty interesting. So observe this. I have a process. A process has several tasks, and I'll try my best to zoom in here. And if you observe, I can really see every single thing about the process, right? I can see the start, I can see the end date, I can see the start time. The process was a success. These process had 2 tasks. And if you observe, these are the name of the function, step 1 and step 2. So what it really did, I used a design pattern called decorator, and automatically it will take care of error handling and all these amazing stuff, right? So this decorator over here, what I did is, this decorator will log the function name into the DynamoDB. It will essentially create a task. And if the function was a success, it will return a response. It will mark the task as succeeded. And if it did fail, then it's going to mark that task as fail, and then the process has failed. So now you exactly know which particular point that failed, right? So hopefully that made sense, right? So I have my views. I can query each of my views to get the data for a day or a month, or if I want to get all the tasks for a particular process, I could very well easily do that. Now I just want to show you really quick. So I'm going to query this. Of course, I can get all the tasks, right? Works flawlessly, right? Now, the second scenario that I want to show you is, let's say there's an error in the code, right? Raise exception. Again, this is your normal developers writing code, right? And say something happened in this particular function. Now, since we are capturing this metadata, and if I run this code, of course, I'll see an exception on my screen. There you go, there's an exception, but observe what's going to happen on Dynamo. So let me click on scan. Just gonna show you the DynamoDB. Actually, let me run it again because there are two processes, so it'll be a little hard to see. So I just want to show you that clearly. So I'm gonna run this again, and again, this is gonna fail, assuming there was a problem in the code, and see how we are capturing the metadata, right? So okay, that did fail. I'm gonna run this, and here observe a process, right? The process started, and here I can see the error code, right? Status and exception. So let me just open that for you so you can see this clearly, right? So here you can see status -1 error message exception must derive from a base exception, right? So it exactly gave me the exception. It logged that in the DynamoDB, right? And if you observe here, the process was marked as failed, and I exactly know which particular function it failed. It failed in this particular task called step 2, and here is the exact exception that I got. So as you can see, all this code that I wrote, now anyone who's writing jobs or who's creating scripts can simply decorate their function, and automatically those will be created as a task in DynamoDB. And when the function starts, automatically it creates a unique process ID, and then essentially you can say, you can have all the valuable information. You can see how long the process took, right? Because I have the start date, I have the end date, and I have the status, right? So now just going back to my article that I wrote, similar to this, now we are capturing each and every single metadata. So I can see whenever any job runs up, it will create a unique process. It will have a start date, it will have an end date, right? It will have a status, what was the status of a job on a high level, right? And if I want to go to the task level, I can query based on my process ID, and again I can get all the tasks here, right? Again, in this example, we in the article that we did it in SQL, and I have modeled everything in NoSQL, and this is within 500 lines of code, right? Everything. So yeah, that's how you can do it. And what I will be also doing, just quickly sharing my screen back. Hopefully loads up quickly. So what you just observed, I entirely made a process and a metadata capture with infrastructure code. I wrote all the templates automatically. When a job starts, it creates a process as a start date, end date, and a status. And process can have several tasks, and anytime there's any failure, you'll exactly capture which particular part it failed at what time and what is the exact exception. That's absolutely flawless, right? So now you guys can take the code that I have written and start implementing and start directly using in your company, because I have written all these code, about 500 lines. It takes care of everything, right? So all you gotta do is just add the decorator, and automatically it will log all your processes in DynamoDB. Thank you so much for watching. I am gonna write a blog article with all the details, and I'm gonna publish this code soon to GitHub, so everybody and anybody who wants to use this code can use it. Of course, it's open source, but when you do that, please make sure to give a thumbs up, right? With that being said, hope you have enjoyed this amazing demo on capturing process and metadata by using DynamoDB as our preferred NoSQL database. Thank you so much. And again, if you further if you're doing a lot of reads, maybe if you want to develop a UI under that, you can also use DAX. You can get all the processes in a month, in a day. You can show what was the status on the high level. So maybe I'll create a simple front end for you in the next video, and I'll show you everything. So whenever anybody runs a job, it's running on EC2 or wherever it is, it's gonna capture all the metadata for you now. Thank you so much, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I hope you enjoyed the project.